Hi everybody, it's Amalia, and I'm here today with a video for Imagine Crafts as one of their artists in residence. Today's video is going to be about when things don't go as you expect and you still make it work. To play with some of my Tsukineko refill inks from Imagine Crafts. These are Ultimate Pigment Ink Refill in Cardinal, Pink, and Canary. And I also have these Delicata inks, which are shimmer inks in Pink Shimmer, Ruby Red, and Golden Glitz. I'm using my Tim Holtz Distress Sprayer, as well as this Sheer Shimmer Craft Spray in Sparkle from Imagine Crafts. I'm spritzing some water on my craft mat from Imagine. One side is blank, and the other side has a grid pattern on it, and it's really great for easy cleanup. So I'm putting some Cardinal, some Pink, some Canary of the Ultimate Pigment Ink Refill down, and you'll notice that it's not starting to disperse in the water that I spritz down on my mat. This is a very thick acid-free kind of ink. It's not a water-based ink, so it's not going to disperse immediately in the water, and it's not going to blend right away. You have to do a little bit of work. Now I had these acetate sheets in my stash, so I decided to pull them out and use it and do a little bit of ink smooshing. I am simply just taking the acetate sheet and smushing it down in the ink. I am not liking the way it looks right now. You can't tell, but yeah, I'm not happy with it. But I take a piece of Neenah Solar White 110 cardstock and I smush it down on the acetate, and there it is. Not too impressed, but I set it aside and I'm going to keep working. The inks are starting to blend. I'm taking a Ranger heat tool and just drying off the paper so that I can dip it again. And I try dipping it and drying it in between each dip so that I can get layers of color on top of my paper. And the lesson I have to keep learning over and over again is not everything is going to be a masterpiece right away. Sometimes you have to work at it. You're not going to get the result that you want every single time. You've got to play. You've got to add some more water, dry it in between, dip it again, and just keep moving forward. When you feel like you've gone as far as you can go, and eventually with this piece of paper, I feel I've gone as far as I can go, I start on a new piece of paper. But not yet. I'm going to dip it one more time or smoosh it one more time into the ink on my mat. And I'm going to spritz some water on it to see if I can help things move around and dip some more. And then I'm going to dry it again. Here it is dry, and it's not what I wanted. It's not what I wanted it to be, but I am going to move on. I'm going to take another piece of Neenah Solar White. I'm going to smoosh my acetate, and you can see that the colors and the water are blending a little bit, and I'm putting it down on my paper and just making sure it makes contact with my paper. Now this result I like a little bit better. This is fully dry now, and I really like it. It's kind of like a marbleized look, and it's very elegant looking, and I think I can work with this. I want to kick it up a notch, so I'm going to use the Sheer Shimmer Craft Spray from Imagine Crafts, and you want to shake it from side to side. Don't shake it up and down. The mica in it will get caught in the spray tube, and you'll have some issues. So I'm dousing this with this spray, and now I want to compare it with the first one that I made. Playing means changing things up sometimes, so I'm going to use this aqua pigment watercolor paper from Brutus Monroe. This is a lightweight paper, but I find it works really, really well and doesn't warp as much as some other water papers that I've used. Playing means changing things up sometimes, so I'm changing it again by adding some of the Delicata Pink Shimmer and some of the Golden Glitz ink, and I'm not even cleaning up any of the previous inks that were on the mat, and I'm just going to put it down on this aqua pigment paper. Once I've smushed it down, I pull off the acetate, and I don't have enough color on it for my liking, so I'm going to dip it back in. I'm not even going to dry in between. I'm just going to dip it back in and see if I can smush some color on the edges where I feel like I didn't get enough color. I used the heat tool to dry it up. I really like the glitz and the metallic sheen of these Delicata inks. As I mentioned before, cleanup on these mats is really easy. I used a microfiber cloth, I spritzed it with some water, and after a few more wipes, it's spotless. And here is the craft sheet. It looks brand spanking new. There's no staining on it from any of the inks. I even cleaned up the acetate sheet that I used. Let's assemble my card. I'm using a piece of jelly plate paper that I made with some golden glitz and some other colors. And as is, I didn't like it, but I thought it would make a nice layer for the background that I end up using. As you can see, this is the second paper that I made with our inks. Next thing I'm going to do is stamp my sentiment, and I choose the VersaFine Clair Brown because I think that tone of brown will go well with all of the colors in my background. I love using VersaFine Clair ink for stamping, especially stamping sentiments. You don't have to use a stamping tool. You ink it up, you stamp it once, and it comes out perfect every time. So I'm not afraid to do that and stamp it straight on my card. As you can see, I've stamped it straight on my background. Now I am just going to go ahead and stamp another part of the sentiment. This is the Thanks Axolotl stamp set from Brutus Monroe. I've already stamped out one of the axolotls. Is that what they're called? On one of the other papers that I created, and I'm going to stamp thank you, and then I did a little stamp surgery and cut the thank you Axolotl stamp up, and I'm just going to stamp thank you Axolotl with the axolotl below it. Is that how you say it? Axolotl? I'm using some scrapbook.com double-sided foam adhesive shapes. These are 1 millimeter thin, super thin. I didn't think they were going to be as thin as this, but they are 1 millimeter thin, and they just add a little bit of height. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to glue some of these Brutus Monroe gems to add a little bit of interest and a little bit of sparkle and shine to the card. I'm also using the Tsukineko Designs pick and stick tool. One side is a pick like an awl, it's a stabby tool, and the other side is a wax tip that just easily grabs whatever little item you want to grab and places it where you want to place it. There's my card, folks. I hope you like it. Please leave thumbs up. Please leave a comment because I love hearing from you. And don't forget to stop on my channel, Cool Cakes and Crafts with Amalia. Bye!